It's a no from me. Good morning guys and welcome back to my channel. So I've shared with you perfumes before that are popular perfumes that just aren't my thing or that I just don't really care for. But I've never done a video before where I shared with you perfumes that actually repulsed me or perfumes that I, so to speak, hated. And I did ask you guys on my community tab if that would be something you'd be interested in, and I've thought of a few perfumes that actually tick off those boxes for me and are sort of repulsive or I absolutely cannot stand them, so I thought it would be kind of a fun video to make. So these are arguably my least liked perfumes ever that I can remember in recent history. So before we get started, I do want to say a little disclaimer. Of course, perfume is very subjective. These are just perfumes that don't agree with my nose. I think a couple of them are still somewhat popular, but I think most of them are not that popular. So if you have one of these perfumes, please don't take offense. This is only how I interpret the perfume, and of course, everybody's nose is different. Also, if this is your first time here on my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Alithia, and on this channel we do talk mostly about perfume. It would mean the world to me if you guys would hang around and subscribe, and I wanted to say thank you to you guys for all of the lovely messages I've been getting. I've been getting a lot of people writing me and telling me that my videos are helping them get through tough times, or they find them very relaxing, or whatever the case is, and I want to let you guys know those comments mean the world to me, and it is why I continue to do what I do. So without further ado, let's get started. So in no particular order, perfume number 1 is Kenzo Jungle L'Elefant. If you guys have been watching my channel, you know that I blind purchased this back in the day when I was on my blind buying frenzy in the beginning of 2020. This perfume, I think some people really like. It's kind of an obnoxious, in-your-face, loud perfume. It definitely commands attention. It's a very spicy perfume, and for me, I just don't like it. What I get from it is it reminds me of a kitchen cabinet that has had all of the different spices that have been spilt and mingling with one another, and they've all just been kind of sitting there on the shelf for months and months, marinating in each other's spicy scents, and then I'm attempting to now put all of those on and wear them as perfume. So I'm talking like cumin, coriander, oregano, nutmeg, sugar. I'm talking about all the spices in my cupboard mixed together. I did not like it. I know those are not the actual notes, but for me, that was the impression I got. Very disturbing, not something that I find pleasant at all. I know a lot of people say they like it, and they like it for Christmas especially, but yeah, for me, that is one I absolutely 100% will never be able to wear. Number 2, again in no particular order, is another one from Kenzo, and this is Kenzo World Intense. So this one is actually very repulsing to me. It's very unpleasant and very strong to me. This one is a plum floral vanilla perfume, and some people say that it reminds them of Gucci Rush and Decadence. I did not get so much of a Gucci Rush and Decadence vibe. I wished I had, because as you guys know, I actually really like Decadence, and I don't mind Gucci Rush, I just don't own it anymore. And I can kind of see where the similarity comes from, because it did have a little bit of that like sweet and did have a little bit of that similarity, but for me this perfume just definitely was not going to work. It was just kind of heavy and just bitter almost, and I just did not care for it in the slightest. This one was an absolute no, no, no. If you guys remember that haul video when I talked about that perfume, it was an absolute no right out of the box. Number 3 is Guerlain Shalimar Eau de Parfum. Now this one, you guys, is a classic. This is a true vintagey classic, and people who have an appreciation for perfumes, a lot of them really, really like and appreciate this perfume. And I can appreciate it for what it is, but for me, this is a little bit too spicy. It's a spicy vanilla lemony type of a fragrance. It's very heavy. I think there's leather in here as well, if I remember correctly. This was also a blind purchase. I bought it because it was so widely known and talked about, and so many people said it's a classic, and it just was not for me. It definitely had a very vintagey vibe. I think this one is older than Chanel No. 5. Like, I think it predates Chanel No. 5. It's arguably one of the perfumes that's been around the longest, and to me it definitely smells a little bit masculine and extremely, extremely vintage. Just definitely not for me, cannot wear it. So that one did not last very long in my collection at all. The next one is Fave Delicios from Dior. Now this one I had actually just had a decant of, and the first time I smelled this perfume, it really put me off. I sprayed it on paper and it didn't smell at all like what I was expecting it to smell like. So many people have hyped it up and talked it up so much, and for me it just doesn't work. And I'm noticing a trend that I really like a lot of Dior's mainstream designer fragrances. I haven't found a Dior exclusive fragrance or one of their higher end fragrances that I like so far. Most most of them have been a no-no for me so far, and this is the one that I can remember really disliking. It just smelled sort of like unpleasant, nauseating. To me, I think of spicy bad beans, like bad spicy vanilla bean or tonka bean or whatever. I'm not even sure what the bean actually is in it. I'll put the notes on the screen for you guys, but yeah, it just does not work for me. I didn't even look up the notes when I first got it. I just sniffed it on paper and was like, no. The next one is Angel Au Sucré from Mugler. So if you guys watch my channel, this was actually a fairly recent blind purchase, I think like 3 or 4 months ago. And this is a sorbet meringue caramel berry fragrance. It's a flanker of course, the original Angel from Mugler, which I don't mind, but found a little heavy for me. This one, in theory, would have been a sweet, delicious, gourmand fragrance, but in real life for me, it was nauseatingly sweet. Just something I could not do. One of those ones that I actually came home and had to wash off of myself. Just was so bothersome to me that I could not wait to come home and wash it off. So Angel Au Sucré was a hard no for me. The next one is actually one from Julianna's Perfume, and I really like Julianna's Perfume. They are a company that does dupe fragrances or inspired by fragrances, and you guys know that I work with them a lot. And most of their fragrances are amazing, but there's one from them that really rubbed me the wrong way, and this I had to include on this list because I would be being very dishonest if I didn't, and this is Sex on Fire, and that is a dupe for Absolute Aphrodisiac from Initio. So this is a dirty gourmand. It's a very animalic, leathery, sickening gourmand to my nose. Some people probably really like it. I think some people do really like it, but for me, it was an absolute no-no. This was one that, again, I wanted to wash off. I tried to wash it off. I couldn't get it off. I was very upset that I could not get it off. Interestingly enough, I do have a decant of the real Absolute Aphrodisiac. That one doesn't make me feel sick. I don't want to wash that one off, but I still don't really like that one. So I think it's just the note profile. I think it's just the gourmandy, leathery, animalic, whatever else they put in there, musky. I think there's civet or something. It's like just very, very actually like an animal, you know, like that kind of dirty, not so good for me. So that is Sex on Fire, 100% absolute no-no. The next one on my list is a little bit similar to that. It's not quite as dirty and animalic, but it does have a very dirty, animalic, musky sort of sexy quality to it, and this is Agent Provocateur Eau de Parfum. This one is very affordable, very inexpensive. I blind purchased it because it had just been one I'd wanted to smell for so long, and it didn't make sense to buy a sample because the bottle itself was so cheap. And some people really, really like this one. It's a very musky, flirtatious, feminine fragrance. It gives off, it's supposed to be almost like an aphrodisiac, I guess, for men, and some people will describe it that way, that men just cannot stay away from this fragrance, and maybe that's the case. I didn't go so far as to try it out. This one for me just smelled like somebody had been engaging in very poor behavior and then not showering for a long time. That's what it smelled like to me. Please don't take offense if you love this one, you guys. This is just the impression that it gave me. Just really dirty, not showering, musky, almost as bad as Sex on Fire, but not quite. It was one that just really rubbed my nose the wrong way. And the last one on my list, and this one is probably my least disliked out of this entire list, so I don't know why it's at the end. This is Armani C Passion. Now, this one a lot of people really like, and I think if I was to go back and revisit it today, I might have a slightly different take on it, but the Armani C fragrances in me have a hard time getting along to begin with. There's something about that patchouli in there that just kind of bothers me. I'm not sure what it is. Even the original C, I have a love-hate with it. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it. But there's something about the C Passion that I can remember I really disliked. It smelled to me just like bad soap. Like bad soap. For me, it was just like soapy, but not in a very good way. And I can see why many people like it. I think that to most people's nose, it probably comes across very nice. I know a lot of people love C Passion, but yeah, for me, I just remember this was an instant dislike. When I sprayed it on the box, when I sprayed it on my skin, it was just an instant, absolutely not for me. So those were my 8 most disliked perfumes ever of all time. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know, and I will do more of them in the future. It will probably be a while because I think those are the ones I've disliked so far, but I'm always smelling new perfumes, and I'm sure that there will be more that make their way onto this list. If you haven't already, also feel free to head on over and follow me on Instagram, and I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye for now.